Right, week 16, we got the Cowboys versus the Dolphins. So Miami's favored by 1.5 points, and this is actually a tough one. The model is split again on this one. I'm going to take Miami, but again, I would encourage everyone to go through, look at the numbers, and you might come to a different conclusion than I am. The model, uh, without any adjustment, really likes Miami. Says 76% chance of winning. That correlates to about an 8.5 point spread. When you look at the raw numbers, you've got 30 to 20 is what you're looking at. It's only when you come down here to the Bayesian adjustment, and that's where it's saying that the model has been really under predicting the Dallas point scores, and then it's been over predicting Miami. So that's what the model's been doing. That's doing the correction. But the funny thing is, when you go through and look at these teams, they've lost to some of the very same teams. They've both lost to Philadelphia. They've both lost to Buffalo, as we see over here, and they've lost both of them. Both Miami and Dallas have lost to both of those teams pretty handily. So when you look at that, it kind of makes you wonder that, okay, so both of these teams have been beating weaker teams. I mean, like weak teams. They've been losing to strong teams, and both of them have a loss against a team that was just out of nowhere, right? And then we've got Miami got beat by Kansas City in 1 week, and then over here, Dallas got whooped up on by San Francisco. So really what we're kind of looking at here, and we had this discussion with Miami, or I'm sorry, with Dallas a couple weeks ago, and then they looked really good against Philly. So, but then they came back and they got stomped by Buffalo, and then likewise Miami, they got beat by Tennessee, but then they looked good against a very weak New York Jets team. So what do you make of that? And that's where I come down to where I think the adjustment from the raw numbers tells us more of a story than anything else, and that this should be a close game. They've the same record, they've lost to some of the same teams by similar amounts. And the one thing I will say though is Miami is still playing for a playoff spot. Dallas has at least secured a spot. Where they're at is still up for contention. So I think that both these teams have some motivation to play. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the raw numbers. One of the things you're going to see right off the bat here is Dallas is not projecting to have near as good a running game as what Miami is. Right now, I'm not. It looks as though Tyreek Hill is supposed to be playing. He's not on the injury report. We'll see if that changes. I think Tyreek Hill, if he does not play, that changes the entire nature of this entire game. I think he's probably the most dynamic ball carrier in the entire NFL. And if Tua does not have him as a target, I don't know if they've got enough offensive weapons to wear down what I think is an undersized Cowboys defense. When we come over here to the right, one of the things we are seeing is it's projecting that Miami should be a very aggressive and explosive team. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes they come out and they really light it up, and sometimes they look very mediocre. The other thing that I point out is Miami's been having a hard time protecting their quarterback, but so is Dallas. Okay, so Dallas is, and it's showing that Dallas is going to be even worse. Dallas does not have quite the explosiveness as Miami, and both teams showing some of that interception capability and some fumbles over there. So those can really turn the games around and just make into a runaway. So with that, it should be a close game. Should be a really fun game. I'm assuming that both teams are going to have the motivation to come out and play. But like I said, sometimes when a team knows that they have a playoff spot secured, they kind of throw it into overdrive and not quite that same muster. And if that's the case, then that should benefit Miami. But every year you see a team that has a spot to play and make it in the playoffs or secure that playoff spot, and they choke it as well. So it should be a fun one. If you got any questions, drop me a comment. If you like what you listen to, click like and subscribe. Appreciate it.